The ancient vessel floated quietly at the edge of the Antares Nebula. Its huge hull showed scars from thousands of years of tiny space rocks and star energy hitting it. When scouts from the Galactic Confederation found it, they thought it was just another old ship from a civilization that died out long ago. They thought it was interesting to look at, but nothing more than that. Commander Kim was an experienced space explorer who had seen many strange things in his career. He led the first team that went inside the old ship. They were amazed by how big it was, almost 15 kilometers from front to back. That's longer than many cities. Inside, everything was in surprisingly good shape. The walls had strange symbols carved into them that no one could read. These weren't like any language known in the galaxy. The team walked through long hallways and large rooms. They found no bones or bodies or any sign of what the builders looked like. It was as if the crew had simply left one day, leaving their massive ship behind. When they found the main control room, Specialist Park noticed something unusual. She wiped away thick dust from a control panel and saw tiny lights pulsing underneath. Using her scanner, she detected weak power running through the ship's systems. "Commander Kim, this ship isn't completely dead," Park said, her eyes wide with excitement. "There's still power flowing through its circuits." Kim came over to look at her readings. "After all this time, that's impossible." "The readings don't lie," Park replied. "Whatever power source this ship uses, it's still working after thousands of years." The news spread quickly. The Confederation, a group of united alien species that govern most of the galaxy, decided to set up a research station on the ship. Scientists from 17 different species came to study what they started calling the Antares artifact. Dr. Lee, a specialist in ancient technology, led a team mapping the ship's power systems. "The engineering is unlike anything I've ever seen," he told Commander Kim during their daily meeting. "The power source appears to be self-sustaining and barely degraded despite the passage of time." Meanwhile, Dr. Han worked on translating the mysterious symbols found throughout the ship. "There's a pattern here," she explained, pointing to recurring marks on her tablet. "But it doesn't match any known language in our database." As weeks passed, more sections of the ship became accessible. They found rooms that might have been living quarters, what looked like training areas, and huge empty spaces that could have held smaller vessels. In one room, they discovered what appeared to be a memorial wall. It had thousands of small metal plates arranged in neat rows, each with different symbols etched into them. "Perhaps these are names," suggested Dr. Han, "a way to honor their dead." None of the scientists realized the truth about the ship they were exploring. They didn't know they were walking through the HSS Indomitable, the last and greatest warship built by humans before they seemingly vanished from the galaxy 3,000 years ago. The scientists didn't know that the symbols they couldn't read were English, the main language of the humans who built the ship. They didn't recognize the memorial wall as a tribute to soldiers who died in humanity's last war. And they certainly didn't understand that the ship's AI system was slowly waking up, bit by bit, as they explored its halls. In a sealed section that the exploration teams hadn't reached yet, a central computer core gradually increased its power usage. Dormant systems began running self-diagnostics. Backup generators activated one by one. The ship, designed to survive for millennia, was following its programming. It was preparing to return to service. And somewhere in the vast reaches of space, the signal that the ship was awakening reached someone who had been waiting a very long time to hear it. Dr. June sat alone in her small apartment on Proxima Station. A blue light flashed on her desk, making her spill her tea. She had waited 30 years for this alert. The emergency beacon she created long ago had finally detected something. Human technology somewhere in space had turned on after being silent for centuries. June's hands shook as she looked at the holographic message. The signal came from the Antares Nebula. That matched the location of the mysterious Antares artifact that all the Confederation scientists were talking about lately. "It can't be," she whispered to herself. After all this time, June looked at her reflection in the window. Her skin had a slight blue tint, and her ears were pointed, not her natural appearance. This was a disguise. Several generations ago, her ancestors had changed their DNA to look like Proximan aliens. This helped them hide after the Great War, when the Confederation tried to kill all humans. The history books taught that humans had died out completely. But that wasn't true. Small groups survived, scattered across the galaxy, hiding their true identities. They changed how they looked and lived quiet lives among the very aliens who had tried to destroy them. June was the last pure human in known space. Others had mixed their DNA with alien species over the generations, until barely any human traits remained. She maintained her disguise through medicine and technology, hiding in plain sight as a respected synorchaeologist, someone who studied extinct alien civilizations. The next morning, June sent a message applying to join the research team at the Antares artifact. Her credentials were excellent, and she received an acceptance within days. Soon she was on a transport ship heading toward the mysterious vessel. "Dr. June, welcome aboard," said Commander Kim when she arrived. "Your reputation precedes you. We're glad to have your expertise." "I'm honored to be here," she replied, trying to hide her excitement. This find could change our understanding of ancient civilizations. As Kim showed her around the massive ship, June recognized things the others couldn't. The strange symbols on the walls were English letters. The unknown power system was a standard human fusion reactor. This wasn't just any human ship. It was the HSS Indomitable, the legendary last supercarrier of the human fleet. When she first stepped onto the bridge, June felt dizzy. Something deep inside her connected with the ship. Unknown to the alien scientists, the vessel's security systems detected her human DNA. Lights brightened slightly as she walked past. Doors that had been sealed opened without resistance. "That's odd," said Dr. Park, watching a door slide open. "We've been trying to access that section for weeks." "Just lucky, I guess," June said with a shrug. That night, after the other researchers had gone to their quarters, June returned to the bridge. She placed her hand on the main console and whispered, "System access. Human Authorization Protocol." The console lit up. A soft voice spoke from hidden speakers. "Human DNA detected. Security protocols temporarily bypassed. Awaiting further input." "Full system diagnostic," June commanded. Over the next few hours, she worked with the ship's systems. More and more functions came online as she worked. The ship was waking up, bit by bit. On the third night, as June accessed the central computer core, a fuller version of the ship's AI activated. "Protocol demands I verify command authority," the ship's AI stated, its voice deeper and more complete than before. "You are not in the chain of command, yet you carry human genetic markers. Explain." June took a deep breath. "On what's left," she replied, her voice breaking. "We're scattered, hiding. The Confederation believes they eliminated us completely." The AI was silent for several moments as it processed this information. "Last recorded human population, 11.8 billion. Please clarify current human population estimate." June's eyes filled with tears. "Unknown. Perhaps a few thousand with significant human DNA still exist, scattered across thousands of systems. Pure humans like me. Fewer than 100, maybe fewer than 10. We can't risk finding each other." More silence as the AI considered this. "The Indomitable's primary directive is to protect humanity," the AI finally said. "This directive remains active. Limited system access granted to Dr. June pending full verification of situation." "Thank you," June whispered. "Be advised. Multiple non-human entities have attempted to access restricted systems. Ship defenses remain at minimal levels to avoid detection. How do you wish to proceed?" June thought carefully before answering. "Continue minimal operation. Don't let them know you're awake yet. I need time to plan our next steps." As she left the bridge that night, June felt a mix of hope and fear. The greatest warship humanity had ever built was waking up. But she was just one person, surrounded by members of the civilization that had tried to wipe out her species. What could she possibly do with the supercarrier? And what would happen when the Confederation discovered the truth? These strange changes aboard the ancient ship worried the research team. Dr. Hand reported that computer terminals that had been dead for thousands of years suddenly showed power readings. Dr. Lee found doors opening into sections they couldn't access before. Each morning, the team discovered new systems had activated overnight. The ship is coming back to life, Dr. Hand told the others during their morning meeting. It's like it's waking up after a long sleep. Commander Kim didn't like mysteries, especially when they happened on his mission. After 3 weeks of unexplained activities, he decided something needed to be done. The final straw came when the engineering team detected power building in what they believed were the ship's engines. "This is no longer just a research project," Kim announced, calling everyone to the main lab. "Whatever this artifact is, it appears to be preparing itself for operation. This could present a danger to all of us." The scientists looked at each other nervously. No one wanted to believe the ancient vessel might be a threat, but the evidence was becoming hard to ignore. "I've contacted Confederation headquarters," Kim continued. "High Counselor Sung himself is coming to assess the situation." This news shocked everyone. Sung was the Confederation's top expert on extinct civilizations and rarely left the capital planet. If he was coming personally, the situation was considered very serious indeed. Dr. Jun listened quietly during the meeting, her face calm despite her racing heart. She knew exactly why the ship was waking up, because she was waking it. Every night while the others slept, she worked with the indomitable systems, carefully bringing more functions online. The AI was helping her, following her instructions to keep the reactivation slow enough not to alarm the research team. But now, they were alarmed anyway, and with Sung coming, her time was running out. 3 days later, High Counselor Sung arrived with a security team. Tall and thin with pale green skin, he moved through the ship with an air of authority. The scientists lined up to greet him, each hoping their research would impress the famous figure. "Show me everything," Sung commanded. "Every active system, every new discovery." The team spent hours showing Sung their findings. He asked detailed questions and took careful notes. When they reached the engine room, he stared at the power readings with concern. "This technology is far beyond anything we have in our historical records," Sung declared. "We need to determine who built this vessel immediately. The propulsion system alone appears capable of faster than light travel beyond anything the Confederation has achieved." That night, June knew she had to work faster. With Sung on board, security had increased. Soon they might restrict access to critical areas. She slipped out of her quarters and made her way to a section they had designated as the Weapons Control Center. "System access. Continue weapons reactivation protocol," she whispered to the ship's computer. Lights came on around her as the AI responded to her command. "Warning," the AI's voice said quietly. "Non-human life form approaching this section." June turned quickly, but it was too late. Specialist Park stood in the doorway, watching her with wide eyes. "I knew something was wrong," Park said. "You always disappear at night, and systems seem to respond differently when you're around." She pointed at the active console under June's hands. "You're activating it deliberately." "Why?" June considered her options. She could lie, but Park was smart and observant. She had probably collected evidence already. Running wasn't an option either. There was nowhere to go on the ship. "Close and lock the door," June told the ship's eye. The door slid shut behind Park and sealed with a click. "What are you doing?" Park asked, now looking afraid. June made her decision. "I'm going to show you something that no one in the Confederation has seen for 3,000 years." She reached up and pressed a hidden switch behind her ear. The blue tint faded from her skin. Her pointed ears shifted, becoming rounded. Her eyes changed color from amber to dark brown. Park gasped and stepped back until she hit the wall. "What? What are you?" I am human, Jun said simply. The last pure human in known space. Impossible. Humans were wiped out in the Purge Wars. Not all of us. Some survived, in hiding. We changed our appearances, scattered across the galaxy. Park's scientific mind was already fitting pieces together. This ship, it's not some unknown alien artifact, is it? No. It's the HSS Indomitable, the last supercarrier built by humanity. And I'm waking it up because it belongs to my people. It's our legacy, perhaps our last hope. But the Confederation records clearly state. The records lie. June interrupted. History is written by the winners, and humans lost that war. Or so everyone believes. Park stared at June's human face, trying to process this revelation. Everything she had been taught about galactic history was being challenged. What will you do with this ship? Park finally asked. I don't know yet, June admitted, but I need to protect it from those who would destroy it. And me. If they learn the truth. Park looked at the powerful systems coming to life around them. You mean High Counselor Sung? Yes, if he discovers what this ship truly is, and who I am. June didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. What happens to me now? Park asked quietly. That depends, June replied. Are you going to tell them who I am? What I'm doing? Park's decision to help June changed everything. Together, they worked to restore the ship's basic functions, but they couldn't keep the secret for long. A junior technician spotted them entering restricted areas and reported them to Commander Kim. When security forces tried to detain them, the ship's automated defense systems activated, stunning the security team without killing them. High Counselor Sung was furious. What is the meaning of this? He demanded over the ship's communication system. June stood on the bridge, now fully revealed as human. She had removed all traces of her disguise. This ship belongs to humanity, she answered. I am reclaiming it. The news that a human was alive, and in control of the ancient vessel, spread quickly through Confederation channels. Within hours, everyone knew that the Antares artifact was actually a human warship. Emergency meetings were called at the highest levels of government. Humans were eliminated for good reason. Sung told his advisors. They were aggressive, unpredictable, and developing technology too quickly. Our ancestors made the right choice 3,000 years ago. The Confederation didn't waste time. Within 2 days, a battle group of 15 warships arrived at the Antares Nebula. They surrounded the Indomitable, weapons charged and ready. Dr. June, High Counselor Sung broadcast from the lead ship. You will surrender yourself and deactivate all ship systems immediately. This vessel is now property of the Galactic Confederation. June sat in the captain's chair on the bridge. Park stood beside her, along with 3 other researchers who had chosen to stay. They had learned the truth from June, that the history taught by the Confederation was a lie. You don't understand what's happening, June replied, sending her message to all the ships. The Indomitable isn't just a warship. It's a repository of human knowledge and culture. Everything we were, everything we created is stored in its memory banks. It's the last record of my species. The ship's AI displayed tactical information on the main screen. The Confederation ships were in attack formation. The historical records are clear. Sung responded coldly. Your species was deemed too dangerous to exist within the galactic community. That assessment has not changed. You have 1 hour to surrender. Park looked at June with worry. What can we do? We're outnumbered. Numbers don't always decide battles, June said. She placed her hand on the main control panel. Indomitable. Battle stations. Bring all defensive systems online. The ship hummed as power flowed through systems unused for thousands of years. Lights brightened, and the engines began to glow. Warning, the AI announced. Confederation ships are charging weapons. They're not waiting the full hour, Park said. June wasn't surprised. Shields up, full power. The hour passed quickly. When June refused to respond to further messages, the Confederation ships opened fire. Energy beams and missiles streaked toward the ancient human vessel. The Indomitable systems reached full power for the first time in millennia. Massive energy shields shimmered into existence around the ship, creating a blue bubble that deflected the Confederation attack. The weapons fire crashed against the shields but couldn't penetrate them. Shields holding at 97%, the AI reported. No damage to any systems. The Confederation ships fired again, with the same result. Their weapons, though advanced by current standards, were no match for the defenses of humanity's last supercarrier. Open a channel to all ships and nearby systems, Jun ordered. I want everyone to hear this. When the AI confirmed the channel was open, Jun stood up from the captain's chair. Her voice was steady as she spoke. People of the Confederation, you have been lied to. You rewrote history after the Purge Wars. Humanity didn't start that conflict. We were the victims, not the aggressors. She nodded to Park, who activated a series of files they had found in the ship's database. Historical records, videos, and communications began broadcasting to every ship and station in range. 3,000 years ago, the early Confederation feared human technological advancement. You saw how quickly we progressed from planetary travel to faster-than-light drives in just a few generations. Instead of working with us, your ancestors decided to eliminate us. The records showed the unprovoked attacks on human colonies, the destruction of Earth, the hunting down of human refugees. The Indomitable was our last hope, a ship meant to preserve our culture and history even if our species was destroyed. It was never meant to be a weapon of revenge. Sum's voice cut through the transmission. These are clever forgeries, more proof of human deception. The ship's database contains DNA samples of thousands of human bloodlines. Jun continued, ignoring him. It has the complete record of human art, music, literature, and science. We weren't monsters. We were people who wanted to live in peace among the stars. As she spoke, more Confederation ships arrived. Soon, there were 30 warships surrounding the Indomitable. But none of them fired again. The historical records continued to play on all channels, showing the truth that had been hidden for thousands of years. The truth hit the Confederation fleet like a powerful wave. Many officers and crew members watched the historical records with shock and growing horror. What they had always been taught about humans conflicted with the evidence now playing on their screens. Captain Moon of the destroyer Vigilant was the first to act. He moved his ship out of the attack formation and powered down weapons. My family has served the Confederation for 7 generations, he announced over the shared channel. But I will not fire on this vessel again. Not until we know the full truth. 3 more ships followed his example. Their commanders could not continue the attack now that doubt had been cast on the reasons for humanity's destruction. The fleet's formation began to break apart. High Counselor Sun watched the historical footage with a tight expression. The evidence was compelling. If it was true, the Confederation's proudest moment, the removal of the human threat, was actually its greatest shame. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Jun watched the Confederation ships with careful eyes. The ship's weapon systems were fully operational now, with targeting solutions for each enemy vessel. She could destroy them all with a single command. What now? Park asked quietly. Now we show them who we really are, Jun replied. She activated the communication channel again. I'm not here for revenge, she announced to the remaining Confederation ships. If that were my goal, you would already be destroyed. The Indomitable was the most powerful warship ever built by human hands, and it still outclasses your entire fleet. A small group of hardliners refused to believe her. 5 ships launched missiles toward the Indomitable. Jun nodded to the weapons officer, another researcher who had revealed herself as part human. Show them, Jun said. The Supercarrier deployed its point defense network. Hundreds of tiny energy beams shot out from the ship, hitting each missile with perfect accuracy. The missiles exploded safely in space, far from any ship. The Indomitable hadn't fired a single offensive weapon, only protected itself. There are more of us out there, Jun continued. Humans who have lived among you for generations, disguised, hiding, afraid to reveal themselves. We want peace. We always did. But we also demand recognition and the right to exist openly. As she spoke, 3 more members of the research team stepped onto the bridge. They deactivated their disguises, showing their human features. Each had been hiding in plain sight, working alongside the very people who would hate them if they knew the truth. High Counselor Sung's ship moved closer to the Indomitable. After several minutes of silence, his voice came through the speakers. "I request permission to come aboard," he said formally, "to discuss these matters in person." June looked at her small crew of humans and allies. They nodded. "Permission granted," she replied. The grand conference room of the Indomitable hadn't been used in 3,000 years. It was designed for diplomatic meetings between human leaders and representatives from other species. Now it would serve that purpose again. Sung arrived with a small delegation. They sat across from June and her team, including Park, who had chosen to stand with the humans despite not being one herself. "The evidence you've presented is disturbing," Sung began. "If accurate, it changes everything we thought we knew about the Purge Wars." "The evidence is real," June said. "The Indomitable's records were preserved specifically to tell the truth someday." Sung looked around at the impressive ship, at the faces of people who had hidden their humanity for generations. "Why now? Why reveal yourselves after all this time?" "Because we're dying out," Jun said simply. "With each generation, fewer children are born with enough human DNA to matter. In another few centuries, humanity would truly be extinct. We needed to reclaim our heritage before it was too late." The talks continued for days. More Confederation officials arrived. Experts examined the historical records and confirmed their authenticity. Gradually, the truth spread throughout Confederation space. Some rejected it, refusing to believe their civilization could have committed such a terrible act. Others accepted it with shame and a desire to make amends. The debate divided planets and species. In the end, the Confederation Council made a formal acknowledgement of the truth. "We cannot undo the past," Sung stated in the final agreement, "but perhaps we can build a different future." The Indomitable remained under human control, with June as its captain. The ship that had been built as humanity's last hope became the center of a new human community. As word spread, people with human ancestry began to come forward, no longer hiding their heritage. A small space station was built near the Indomitable, then a colony on a nearby planet. Humans and part humans from across the galaxy made the journey to what became known as New Earth. The massive Supercarrier floated above the growing colony, its running lights illuminating its ancient hull against the beautiful colors of the Antares Nebula. What had once been the last weapon of a dying species had become something else entirely, a bridge between past and future, and the foundation for humanity's return to the stars. The end.